I almost died of ovulitis, and this is a condition where one can die of ovulitis without even knowing. And in my case, I also had ovulitis, which I didn't know that I had ovulitis, and my mom as well had no idea that I had ovulitis. Even the hospital didn't know that I had ovulitis, and this is what happened. You can also check the content about epiglottitis, the causes, the treatment, the symptoms, and how you can avoid it. And let's get into this. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Evna Lifestyle. So today is about the experience of the story of my life, what happened and how I survived. So this is something that happened and it was kind of painful. I thought that I'm dying, like, okay, now this is how people die, like literally this is death. Death has knocked at my door right now, and I was like, am I supposed to write a will? Am I supposed to write something? But I can't write anything because I have nothing to leave behind. I was like, wow, I mean, this is how people die. And it was really missed by a lot of people. It was missed by the hospital and other people. So I want to show you guys how this story went. So let me start by saying what ovulitis is, why it's found, and also the function of it. So the uvula is just a soft tissue which is found on the back part of the neck, back of the mouth, like just there where it's found, the uvula. And it's a soft tissue, meaning it doesn't have any bone in it. If you are expecting to have bones, it doesn't have any bones. So it's really a soft tissue. So the function of the uvula is that it makes sure that the food that we eat don't go on the nasal cavity, right? Like the nasal passage doesn't receive anything that we eat. It just goes directly to the esophagus and we are safe, right? So that's the function of the uvula, and it's a soft tissue, right? That's the function of it. Uvulitis is why now the uvula itself is inflamed, and when it's inflamed it becomes big and it starts getting to be longer than expected, and it's not a good thing because it brings up other complications when it's in that case. So I had uvulitis when I was in my final year of my college, when I was doing my course. So I was in my final year. I started having the symptoms of uvulitis, which I had no idea of. So uvulitis has similar symptoms with epiglottitis as well, right? So I think I had both. I had uvulitis and I had epiglottitis, but the most common one, or the most prominent one, was uvulitis. And I think the epiglottitis thing came in when the uvulitis was it was the first, and then the second was epiglottitis, which wasn't that bad, but the uvulitis was. So when I started feeling like there is a worm, like I'm having a worm which is trying to come out, and like a tiny worm. Every time I feel like there is a worm and I try like to cough or to throw up, it wasn't coming out. And at times when I try like to swallow, like swallowing, like go back, it wasn't going back. So during the day I used to have those kind of reactions of like feeling like there's a tiny worm there, and during the night I used to be choked, right? I used to be choked, which made me to feel like I had epiglottitis, but by then I had no idea that I had uvulitis or epiglottitis. So during the night I usually used to wake up like random waking up, like you just wake up because you feel like something is like someone is choking you, and I just used to feel so choked. And when I wake up, it was just like coughing, and it was really hard. So now when the time I was feeling that like I had a worm, I had to visit the clinic because I was like, I think it has been long since I did the deworming thing. So I went to the clinic, and you know how doctors are. I mean, every doctor, not just doctors, but every clinician or health practitioner, when you they first have to hear your history. You present like how you're feeling and all that, and the way you're going to explain it is how they are going to try to treat you and help you to see if it will be helpful or not. So when I went there, you know, I still have that sense of like I'm feeling a worm there, right? So I just went there and told them, you know, I'm feeling like there's a worm there, and it has been long since I dewormed. Definitely, I've given them the thing to say that I just want the deworming medication. So they gave me the medicine for deworming. I went back to my room. I took the medicine, And I think for 2 days it still continued the same thing. And I was like, whoa, I think this medication didn't work. I went back to the clinic and told them that the medicine didn't work. They gave me another medication. This time around, they gave me for where I have to take once in a day for 3 days. I'm not really good with medicine. I'm not really good with medication. So they gave me, I don't know the names. So they gave me that medication where I have to take once in a day for 3 days. I took that. Still, there was no change. And I went back again. And mind you, deworming, you have to deworm after 3 months. But I did the deworming in 1 week to 2 weeks 3 times, which was totally not a good thing. So and thank God I wasn't really I really didn't overdose myself. Kaya, what happened? But everything was just okay. So I went back for the 3rd time. They gave me the medication again, and I took the medicine. Still nothing, like no response. I was still feeling the same, and the condition was still getting worse. Now this time around, I lost my weight. I lost my weight badly, where my weight was in the same range with my temperature. Now imagine, temperature is 36 degrees and my weight was also 36 kg, and that was my first time having such a weight. And I was like, wow. The one who was seeing me was just like, girl, what's going on? What's happening? What are you going through? And I was like, I'm trying to explain to you. I think I was trying to explain to her that I've been feeling the worm there, but definitely she couldn't believe me, because how can a worm make one to be in that state for a short period of time? So I used to feel so irritated by it, and I lost my appetite. I couldn't eat. I couldn't really look after myself. I used to stress, and by then it was the time where I have to start doing my attachments. So I was just so stressed, and I had to pressurize myself with so many so many things. And there was this part where, like, I have to study, I have to cook, and then I also have this thing which is really, really irritating me, and my life just seemed to be so messed up, like really messed up. So I started my attachments. I started going there. By then, I also called my parents. So I called my parents and explained what was happening. And definitely, parents always get worried. So they got worried. And now here was the thing. So the medications they gave me were not working out. And at the clinic, for them to refer you, they have to see you, like, how the condition is getting worse. Then that's when they're going to take you to the next level. But in my condition, it wasn't, for them it wasn't that bad, which I also agree, because if I was also in their state, I was like, okay, I would be like, this is not bad. But in my case, it being that I was the one who was going through that, and I couldn't really explain to them because I had no idea what was happening. The only thing that I knew was that I had a worm here, tiny worm, which was really, really irritating me, and this worm was also making me not to eat. I lost my appetite, and also I usually used to have hard time to sleep during the night because of the same thing. So in my mind, I was like, endoscopy is the only examination that is going to work for me. Endoscopy is why they set like a tiny camera inside, goes in there, checking the esophagus, checking just the upper GIT and the lower GIT. But my main interest was to check how my throat endoscopy. But again, I thought of the process, like there's a lot of processes that are going to be done and all that, and I'm doing my attachments. So as I was doing my attachments, my condition became worse. Now there was this day where I had a bad fever. I couldn't just do anything, and I was alone. And by then we were in the COVID state, so only third year students were in the campus, and a lot of them had gone out. And I was just alone. I couldn't really do anything by myself. The only thing that I thought of was going back to the place where I was doing attachments from. So I went there. I managed to reach there bit by bit, moving bit by bit. I was just so messed up and so sick. A lot of people were like, okay, even just them looking at me, I was like, yeah, they know that I'm not well. They know that I'm not well. So I went there, and luckily I had found my supervisor, who was always with us. He escorted me to go to a big hospital. When we went there, when we went there, we opened the file and they gave me a strong medication. And this medication, when I went back to the hospital, and we always check on Google, like what kind of a thing have they prescribed for me, what kind of an examination am I doing. So when I checked it on Google, only to find that the medication is for ulcers and what else, I think that should be ulcers only. I think ulcers and severe gases. And I was like, whoa, I don't know this medication that they've given me. But I took few of them, and it was a heavy drug, and I was like, I think I won't be in a good state if I continue taking this, and I stopped. So I continued. I talked to my parents, I told them about it, and they also asked from other people. Then they suggested a lot of things. One of the suggestions was that I take a bottle of Coke. And guys, I don't take Coke. I don't really remember the last time I took Coke apart from that day. I think should be 9 if not 10 years the last time I took Coke. Like, I just bought carbonated drink and took. So I bought Coke, and it was so, like, it was burning up my throat. So I think that was the motive. It was supposed to burn my throat so that it burns what was irritating me. So I took Coke. It didn't work out. They also suggested that I take kind of acidic things, like there is lemon mixed with that was crystal lemon should be. Then also other things, other combination. I tried that never worked out, and I was like, wow, I mean, what's really happening now? The mind was like, I've been okay, there's some kind of witchcraft in here. We have to start prayers. So when that part passed, and I was like, you know what, I think I need to be strong. I really need to be strong, and just to ignore these things since I'm in my period of my examinations. I tried so hard to ignore that part, which was really, really irritating me, and that was just my only chance I had to do well in my exams, that I make it, I pass, and then what follows, because it was going to be a heavy burden on me if I couldn't really make it and failed my exams. So I had to kind of ignore the part of where, like, I was having medical issues. Then I somehow concentrated with my studies, which was really, really, really tough and hard. Luckily, I finished my my third year course. I finished my 3 years course. I finished my course, and I went back home. So when I went back home, this thing continued. Now it reached at the stage where I started coughing, like really, really, really badly. I started coughing, and I had no idea what was really going on. I never even thought of, like, just trying to check what's happening here, like just to open up my mouth and check. I had no idea. So when I went home, mom started looking after me, and mom was like, wow, is this the exam which has made you to lose weight? Or already I'm thin? Already I was thin. For now I'm not. Already I was thin, and people were like, okay, we can now see that you are from the examination room. Wallace, that wasn't the case. That was literally not the case. So mom was really worried. Dad was really worried, definitely. And we started. Now my case became worse, where I used to cough, and I also used to feel the irritation. I lost weight. I didn't have appetite. My mind was just something else because I was stressing out every time. Then there was this time. Now mom went straight, and you know how women are. You know how we as women are. When you are in like a group, we want to say something, and you are making those conversations, and mom brought it out to her friends and said, you know what, my daughter is going through such. And one of the mothers suggested that try to check for ovulitis. So ovulitis is, with what I was told, ovulitis is also called Akalimi in Zambia. That's Bemba. So same with epiglottitis. I think they both call them Akalimi. So they are both Akalimi, since they are both found in kind of in the same area. So when they told mom to say try to check for Akalimi or ovulitis. So when mom came home, she directly came to me and she was like, open your mouth. I was like, oh, okay. So when I opened my mouth and showed her, and she was like, this looks different. She checked hers, and it was like, this looks different. I also checked. I was like, mine is totally different. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. So mine, it was, the ovula was really elongated, like really, really elongated. When I opened my mouth widely, I couldn't even see the tip of the alveoli. I couldn't see the tip of it, like why it's ending. I don't know why it's ending or why it's starting, like just the tip of the alveoli. I couldn't see it. Then that was late in the evening, so we went to our neighbor for confirmation. We went to our neighbor, one of my aunties, like the neighbors there. So when we went there, she checked me and she was like, wow, I mean, what have you been doing all this time for it to reach this far? And just seeing her facial expression, I was like, whoa, am I really safe right now? I think I'm dying. I think this is how people die. And she was like, this has reached at the last extent, like at the last level. This is the last level. This is why now we can't even get surprised if one was to die, because I think according with her facial expression and her actions, it was like I only had less than a week for me to survive. She also explained some of the cases which other people have, like they had ovulitis, they didn't make it because of their ovulitis. It was worse and it's worsened the condition as well. And with what she explained, my case was way too similar to them. Like it was just the same way she explained. And guys, there are times where we feel like, okay, I'm really strong with death, but when death is near you, you feel like, I think I'm not ready. Not now, please hold on. Hold on. So we went home after she explained, and she was like, you know what, tomorrow we can go to this certain man who does this and this and this. And me and mom, we were scared, like, okay, this is literally happening. Like right now, I am not in a good condition. I'm in a condition where I can die even now. So when we went home, guys, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up. I think I should say the whole night. There were those times where like you're just sitting like this, you're just thinking about something, you try to doze off, and when you wake up, you'll be like, I'm not okay. Since I knew what was going on now, I knew about ovulitis, and I had to check it on Google like non-stop checking, and I was like, I got scared. I was like, now I can really relate with the symptoms. I can really relate with what has been going on in my life for the past, that was I think 5 to 6 months. And I think I was so lucky to stay up for 5 to 6 months, because I don't think it's supposed to be that long. So when I went home, that night passed, the following day, we had to prepare ourselves. I couldn't even have breakfast. Who can have breakfast in that state? So I went home. We started our trip going to see the same person who was supposed to check me. And